Nigeria is to begin the formal export of locally produced commodities to South Africa, Rwanda, Cameroon and Kenya from next month under the Guided Trade Initiative of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Although some businesses in Nigeria currently export products to these countries, they make such exports informally. But beginning in April, Nigerian companies will start the official and formal export of commodities to the African nations under the AfCFTA treaty. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a free trade agreement established among 54 of the 55 African Union nations, creating the largest free trade area in the world by the number of participating countries. The Rise Business anchor Boason Omofaye joins us now for his thoughts on this issue. It's good to have you as well.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, so
it's a happy Friday.
It's actually International Women's Day, but hey, I'm the only woman in the studio. You guys want to ignore that? That's fine. That's fine. We're used to it.
You're duly recognized.
Thank you.
All right, let's start with the Egypt IMF deal. $8 billion. What do you make of that scenario?
Actually, the headline figure is about 20. It's just that about 9 billion of that could be should be coming from the IMF. The initial discussion was for $3 billion US dollars. But with the flotation of the currency, the devaluation of around 26%, and what we're seeing right now, things look a little bit positive for Egypt. United Arab Emirates, the UK, Saudi Arabia, and a few other countries will be pitching in. So that takes the whole investment outlook to about $20 billion. I think the market globally understands the strategic importance of Egypt, if you know. And geopolitically speaking, economically speaking, with one leg in the Arab world and the second in the northern part of the continent as a corridor, and then also with a strategic relationship with the Western powers as well as Europe. So Egypt is a global political power broker, if you understand, and a deal maker in a manner of speaking. It's got the ears of almost everyone that matters on earth. If you look at between the Middle East and standing there between the Asia and Russia to this side and Europe, US, Europe to the other side. So Egypt has a strategic gateway for global trade, for global politics, for commerce, for diplomacy, and what have you. So, and it's Egypt, almost every country in the world, in the Middle East and everywhere wants to keep on his own side in a manner of speaking. And economically strategic also because of the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, and its strategic location there. And President al-Sisi seemed to have done well for himself. The election that was to hold this year was moved back to December last year, which he won another re-election. There was no much of a hot contest there as we had in Nigeria much earlier. But then he was expecting portfolio investment, foreign direct investment, and current account numbers for Egypt, which had been on a decline around the last 2-3 years to turn into the green territory. So hot money were coming as you expected. The stock market went down on the devaluation 3 days ago by 3%. Yesterday, which is the last trading day of the week and the last market in Cairo, the market went up 5%, which means that the hounds have smelled the money. Yeah, they smell the money. The devaluation was good news. But again, I'm asking myself, how come we also devalued in Nigeria the currency and we floated the exchange rate, which you watched Egypt did 3 days ago, and now you're talking about between $9 and $20 billion. We floated in June last year, and I haven't seen anyone much as bringing $1 billion or $10 billion or $20 billion this way. So I'm beginning to ask myself, what exactly is Egypt doing right? What was the strategic economic, structural, whatever policies that Egypt has and Nigeria has yet to put in place? The countries are now lining up and say, look, do you want money? We're here to give you. Do you want? Take. And if we have that by now, we wouldn't be having some conversations right now. But I think Egypt has gotten it right. It's going to be a mixture of what comes to the bond market, what goes into the hot money portfolio, stock market, and what have you. And then there's a whole lot more. But let's see how it all goes.
All right.
All right. Well, let me move on to this next one, International Women's Day, which I already chided you for.
Okay.
What's your take on empowering female entrepreneurs as a catalyst for economic growth?
I saw the Westpac story, and I think this is something we could do very wholeheartedly. And let me just quickly say this here. And I saw on television that the First Lady is doing a project. I mean, Nigeria's First Lady, which is a women's garden. That is, she wants every woman who has a garden in her backyard to take a picture of it, of growing tomatoes, onions, whatever it is, and send it because there's a competition of which about 20 million naira is on the table. I think something like that could be reworked in a manner of saying, look, we can grow what we eat and eat what we grow. And it may sound a little bit trite now considering where we are, but again, we need to get back to cultivation of basic food items ourselves in one or two. Not necessarily every corner can turn to a store or a shop or a shopping mall. We need to create ambience for life. We need to create ambience for sustainability. We need to create ambience for women. We need to create ambience for children as well and for kids in our environment, in our cities and towns and villages. And we can also support more women wholeheartedly beyond the rhetoric of what we've done over the years. But I think it's an International Women's Day, and I think there's a whole lot more that we can do in Africa, whether it's in energy, in finance, in investment, in education, in healthcare. It's really about. It's not so much, if you look at what happened in Kaduna and the schoolgirls and those who were kidnapped, it for me, it sort of dampens the whole thing that we're dealing with these same issues many years after.
Very good. Boason Omofaye, I'd like to thank you for your thoughts on those issues.
Thank you. I appreciate it.